Ready for a deep dive into the mind of Elon Musk?
Always up for that.
Now we know what you're thinking. Not another recap of his rocket launches or electric car ventures, right?
Right.
We're going deeper than that today, unpacking the philosophy behind the icon.
Sounds good.
We're drawing inspiration from David P. Zimmer's Elon Musk, Inspiration for Living a Rich Life.
Okay.
A book brimming with insightful quotes straight from the source himself.
I like it.
And let me tell you, some of these quotes are less like motivational posters and more like masterclasses in challenging the impossible.
Yeah.
Take this one, for example. If something is important enough, even if the odds are against you, you should still do it.
Wow.
I mean, the sheer audacity of that statement is almost comical until you remember this is the guy who launched a car into space.
Exactly. Imagine the conversations Musk must have had early on, trying to convince investors to back a venture like SpaceX. It wasn't just about the technical challenges.
Yeah.
It was about defying an entire industry's perception of what was possible. Yet his conviction was so strong that he pushed forward, turning what many considered a pipe dream into a tangible reality.
It makes you wonder how many groundbreaking ideas are sitting dormant because someone's too afraid to go for it. It's a good reminder that sometimes the biggest obstacle to achieving the extraordinary is simply believing it's possible.
And that brings us to another key tenet of Musk's philosophy, embracing failure as an inherent part of the innovation process. He's famously said, "Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough."
Interesting.
Think back to the early days of SpaceX when those rockets were, well, let's just say, not exactly landing gracefully.
Exploding on a semi-regular basis. Yeah, I remember those days. It's almost counterintuitive, right? We're conditioned to fear failure, avoid it at all costs.
Right.
But Musk flips that script entirely.
He recognized that true innovation requires pushing boundaries, taking calculated risks, and yes, sometimes experiencing setbacks. Those early rocket failures weren't just spectacular mishaps. They were valuable learning opportunities that ultimately paved the way for SpaceX's incredible achievements.
Right.
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
What if, instead of fearing failure, we viewed it as data?
Exactly.
A chance to learn, adapt, and iterate our way to success. What project would you be tackling right now if you knew failure wasn't an option, but a stepping stone?
It's a question worth pondering, especially as we delve into another one of Musk's core principles. It's important to reason from first principles rather than by analogy.
Okay.
This might sound a bit abstract, but it's actually a surprisingly practical approach to problem solving.
It's like that moment in every superhero movie where they realize they've been fighting the wrong enemy all along. You've got to strip away the assumptions and get to the root of the issue.
Exactly. It's about challenging the status quo, questioning that's just how it's always been done mentality. For example, when Musk entered the automotive industry, he didn't just try to build a slightly better gas-powered car.
Right.
He questioned the very premise of combustion engines, focusing instead on the fundamental physics and economics of electric vehicles.
Which brings us to Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of accepting the limitations of existing electric car technology, he went back to the drawing board.
Yes.
Analyzed the cost of batteries, reimagined the manufacturing process, basically threw out the rule book and built a new one.
And that's the beauty of first principles thinking. It allows you to see beyond the limitations of existing solutions and unlock entirely new possibilities. It's a powerful tool, and it's not just for tech titans like Musk.
And that's a key point, isn't it? These principles, they're not just for Silicon Valley billionaires. We can apply that same first principles thinking to our own lives, our careers, even our hobbies.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating a mindset of continuous questioning and improvement. As Musk himself puts it, I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself.
I find that incredibly motivating and a tad intimidating, to be honest. It's like no pressure, but you should constantly be striving for a personal best in all areas of your life.
But remember, it's not about being self-critical or chasing some impossible standard of perfection. It's about fostering a growth mindset, embracing the idea that we can always learn, evolve, and improve.
It's that classic Muskian blend of relentless ambition and unwavering optimism. He's not just building companies, he's building a future where, in his words, you're expecting things to be better, not one where you're expecting things to be worse.
That's a powerful vision, isn't it? Choosing to believe in the power of human ingenuity to solve problems, to create a brighter tomorrow. It reminds me of another one of his quotes. I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary.
Now that's the kind of quote you could put on a coffee mug. It's a reminder that greatness isn't reserved for a select few. It's a choice we all have the potential to make. But how do we actually make that choice? How do we bridge the gap between ordinary and extraordinary?
Well, Musk would argue that it starts with identifying something you're deeply passionate about, something that you believe can make a real difference in the world. And then, he says, persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up.
There's that unwavering determination again. But it's not just about stubbornness or refusing to admit defeat. It's about having that deep-seated belief in your vision, even when faced with setbacks and challenges.
It's about being willing to adapt, to pivot, to find a way forward, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. Think about the early days of Tesla. They were on the brink of bankruptcy, facing skepticism from the entire automotive industry.
Yeah, people forget just how close Tesla came to folding. It wasn't an overnight success story. It was years of struggle, of pushing against the odds, of refusing to give up on that vision.
And that brings us to another crucial aspect of Musk's philosophy taking ownership. He has this rather provocative quote, "It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket."
It's a bold statement, especially in a world that often preaches diversification and risk aversion. But I think what he's getting at is the importance of focus, of truly believing in your chosen path and being actively involved in shaping its outcome.
It's about being in the driver's seat, not just hoping for the best, but actively steering your company, your project, your life towards the destination you envision.
Which brings us back to that theme of making a difference. Because at the end of the day, Musk isn't motivated by profit margins or market share. He's driven by a larger purpose, as evidenced by this quote. "I don't create companies for the sake of creating companies, but to get things done."
And not just any things. He's drawn to challenges that could fundamentally reshape our world, whether it's accelerating the transition to sustainable energy with Tesla or expanding humanity's reach into space with SpaceX. He famously said, "I'm interested in things that can change the world."
And those ambitions, they're not just pipe dreams. He's backing them up with tangible action. Remember his statement, the first order of business is to make electric cars successful. It's not just about building a cool car, it's about tackling climate change, creating a more sustainable future.
That's an excellent point. He sees the success of electric vehicles as intricately linked to solving a global crisis. And that kind of bold vision, that sense of urgency, it's infectious, isn't it? It's what makes people want to be a part of his mission, to contribute to something bigger than themselves.
And it's not just about saving the world, is it? There's a genuine excitement for the possibilities, for pushing the boundaries of what humanity can achieve. It's like he's saying, hey, let's dream big and then actually make those dreams a reality.
It's a refreshing perspective, especially in a world that often feels bogged down by cynicism and short-term thinking. He challenges us to embrace a more optimistic outlook, to believe in our capacity to create a better future.
And for all his focus on technology and grand visions, he never loses sight of the human element. Remember that, quote, "The best part of Tesla is not the car, it's the company." That speaks volumes about his understanding of what truly drives success.
It's about the people, the culture, the shared passion that binds a team together. He recognizes that building a groundbreaking company isn't just about algorithms and assembly lines. It's about fostering a collaborative environment where talented individuals are empowered to think creatively and push the boundaries of what's possible.
Which might explain his somewhat unconventional approach to, shall we say, corporate bureaucracy.
He's famously said, "I don't believe in process. The problem is that at a lot of big companies, process becomes a substitute for thinking." He sees rigid structures and excessive bureaucracy as creativity killers.
So instead of enforcing strict protocols, he empowers his teams to challenge assumptions, think critically, and come up with innovative solutions, even if it means coloring outside the lines occasionally.
It goes back to his emphasis on first principles thinking. He wants his team to understand the why behind the what, not just blindly follow a set of procedures. It's about fostering a culture of continuous learning, experimentation, and iteration.
And that brings us to another one of those deceptively simple yet profound Musk quotes. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion.
It's a brilliant analogy, isn't it? It breaks down the seemingly daunting task of building a successful company into something relatable and understandable.
You need a great idea, a talented team, a solid execution strategy, a deep understanding of your market. All these elements have to come together in harmony.
And just like with baking, there's an art to it, a delicate balance that needs to be found. You can have all the right ingredients, but if you don't combine them in the right proportions, if the chemistry isn't there, it's not going to work.
It reminds us that success rarely hinges on a single factor. It's about understanding the interplay of various elements, recognizing that even the smallest ingredient can make or break the final product.
And speaking of essential ingredients, we can't overlook one of Musk's most fundamental beliefs. Great companies are built on great products. It seems obvious, but it's a principle that's often overlooked in the pursuit of rapid growth or market dominance.
It's easy to get caught up in the bells and whistles, the marketing hype, the latest business trends. But at the end of the day, if your core product or service isn't exceptional, none of that other stuff matters.
And that's where Musk's unwavering commitment to quality shines through. Whether it's the sleek design and cutting-edge technology of a Tesla or the raw power and precision engineering of a SpaceX rocket, his companies are known for pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
It's that relentless pursuit of excellence that sets them apart, that inspires a loyal following and drives them to achieve the seemingly impossible. And that, I think, is the biggest takeaway from our deep dive into the mind of Elon Musk.
It's the idea that we don't have to settle for the status quo, that we can choose to be audacious, to challenge assumptions, and to strive for something more.
Whether it's pursuing a big, hairy, audacious goal like colonizing Mars, or simply trying to make a difference in our own little corner of the world, Musk's words remind us that we all have the power to choose extraordinary.
So as we wrap up our exploration of Elon Musk's inspiring insights, I'll leave you with this final thought from the man himself. The thing that's worth pursuing is the thing that you think is going to have a significant effect on the world.
What impact do you want to make? What dream will you dare to chase? That's something to ponder. And for more fuel to ignite your own journey, I highly recommend checking out Elon Musk, Inspiration for Living a Rich Life by David P. Zimmer.
It's a treasure trove of insights that we've only just begun to uncover today.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop reaching for the stars.